We both loved a lot of different things that were similar, except math. She likes math, and I don't really do well in math. But she sent me the manuscript for this book. We worked it out. There were some requests I had to shuffle some things around.
She was very helpful.
And the artwork is by her son, who goes by, his artistic name is Cohen Asher. And they sent me a bunch of artwork, and I said, I know what I want to do. So, Marion Cohen is a mathematician, math professor, and the author of 23 books, including 2 memoirs. The latest memoir, Still the End, Memoir of a Nursing Home Wife. She teaches math and writing at Arcadia University in Glenside, Pennsylvania, where she has developed the course, Truth and Beauty, Mathematics and Literature. Her book, Lights I Have Loved, was published in 2014. Marion Cohen.
Thank you, E. Can people hear me? Yes. I need this book back. Well, I'm going to start by reading a math poem. This is my book, which E didn't hold up. She held up this one, which I'm going to read more from. But anyway, this is about my passion for math. And I'm only going to read one poem from that, so I can read more poems from, or other poems. Here comes that poem in a minute. In a second, has to be a second, right? We don't have a minute. You can draw, no, it's untitled, and the book is called Crossing the Equal Sign. You can draw pictures without analytic geometry. Straight lines don't need ax plus b. Circles don't need x squared plus y squared. Loops and scallops don't need polar coordinates, but they would be as pretty. They are prettier with axes running through them and equations running along them. Spirals aren't as pretty without theta. Four-leaf clovers aren't as pretty without sine square theta. Beauty isn't as pretty without truth. And on, you can't clap. For a long time, this poem is called, I Need the Time. This poem is called For a Long Time, and Proust began one of his books by, For a long time I used to go to bed early. Here's how my poem goes. For a long time I didn't know about reading. When my mother sat on that special chair on the right, I thought she was looking at pictures and using them to make up the story, or maybe just making up the story. And that thing she held was some ritualistic object, something like a candle, though it flickered in a bigger way. For a long time I didn't know there were words in that thing. I thought words could only be spoken, things in the air that flew then disappeared. We had to say them again and again. For a long time I didn't know about reading, so I didn't yearn to know how to read. Didn't know reading was something to know how to do. There was only bedtime and my mother's stories and that flickering thing she held instead of me. This poem's called There. Whenever at night anything was there and changing, I had to keep looking at it. I mean until dawn. And whenever on the bushes or sidewalk dry dead leaves were there, I had to crush them. And now, when points are blinking, lines shimmering on or off the page, something gets highlighted, but not enough. I have to highlight better. Mount Everest, though, I don't have to climb it, because by there I mean close. By there I mean here. 32 Beethoven piano sonatas. The very late ones he couldn't hear, and we all know that Beethoven was deaf for the last 10 years of his life at least. The very late ones he couldn't hear. The very early ones he could. But what about number 16? What about number 17? And what difference does it make? It was so long ago. And these few poems are from a forthcoming book of mine. I'm not excited yet. It doesn't come out until summer 2016. But the book's going to be called Closer to Dying. The title is Reading in a Dream. Someone told me you can't read in a dream because the part of your brain that reads is different from the part of the brain that dreams. Okay, anyway, this is based on a dream that I had. Reading in a dream. My brain is special. it can read in a dream. Well, this dream, well, these words, well, it can dream it's reading in a dream. Well, at this angle, well, at this distance. And there's music, one drawn out augmented forth, the kind they have in horror movies. Still, look, I'm reading in a dream. My special brain is reading in a dream. This poem is called Assuming Infinity. A student writes how she first learned about infinity. I didn't learn about infinity, I always knew about infinity. When I was 4, ground went down forever and sky went up forever. And the boundary on which we live went on forever. And our parents would never call us in for supper, and then supper would never end. And now, I'll always be 68. I have known plenty of finites, but I still assume infinity. Infinity is the given. Infinity is the default. This is called Dream of Green, Interrupted. It's the feeling, it's a dream I had, and it's a feeling of being closer to dying. Nothing specific. Anyway, Dream of Green, Interrupted. It's a wide green hill, pistachio green, sunlit green, and not very steep, easy to wander. Trip along this green, leisurely, carelessly, but don't yet dare look down. For the green is not solid. There are gaps in this green, patches of non-green, like gaps in aging hair. These gaps aren't dirt, they're glass. Looking down through this glass, there's an underneath hill, 3 feet under, or maybe 6, just as pistachio, but not as sunlit. There are no gaps on the underneath hill. It's uninterrupted green. It's an almost copy of this hill you're climbing. Maybe it's this hill's coffin, or maybe it's this hill's brain. And one more poem. I think of the time. I have 2 minutes, that's plenty.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, I wanted to share a little bit about what I'm doing lately. Like, for example, this morning, I woke up and I was thinking the following. Well, all my life, really, I've been thinking about ways in which those in charge, politicians, presidents, and so on, along with society itself, are running our world incorrectly, wrongly, uglily, and I see that why and so on, it's got to be pretty subtle. And I'm also thinking that colleges, like where I teach, where my classroom is, it's near the sociology/criminal justice department, and there are all kinds of radical ideas that I agree with, expressed, prisoner, sympathy and cartoons about our legal system. There's there where the judge sentences the jury to prison for being part of society that sends this guy to, says this guy's guilty. Definitely against the death penalty. There's a letter to Trayvon Martin, exent at where I teach. All kinds of diversity stuff, coming out course, not just, if you're gay or not about sexual orientation, but about anything, coming out about anything. All kinds of stuff. The course that I teach is kind of radical. So how come our world isn't, of course there's the mass media and so on, there's all kinds of reasons. But, what's wrong and what's left, and why am I still suspicious of it all? Mm-hmm. What's different about me, I think, perhaps. And I've written already a lot about education and about this schooling society. My 2 younger sons homeschooled, and I homeschooled in a more radical way than other homeschoolers homeschool, even more than unschoolers do, but we can't go into that. But I think that has a lot to do with it. This following poem, I've started a new chapbook and I'm calling it Don't. And it starts out with more personal things and existential things, like don't kiss with your eyes open, and don't think about your brain, and things like that, dark stuff. But then I get into more, I wandered into more political stuff. Anyway, this poem is called More Things I Don't. Some of it's personal, some of it's political. I haven't quite, this is all in progress. I don't call on students if their hands aren't up. I don't say just do the best you can. I don't say I'm returning your call. I don't say to little kids with a question mark, okay? I don't say to homeschooling kids of school age, you need to work on this, but you're doing great in that. And I don't say good job. I might say good, but never good job. I don't like bossa nova. I don't like walking when there's no thrift store along the way. I don't say I have enough black skirts. I don't understand most poetry that isn't mine. When I was in college, I would not have wanted to spend a semester abroad, and I wouldn't have wanted a course or lecture series on how to manage your career. And I don't like intermissions. During them, I do what I do during the concert. I settle in with my eyes closed. Taking a stretch is highly overrated. There are lots of things I do like to do, but only a finite number of things I love to do.